Hello, everyone, and thank you for joining us for today's session. My name is Danny, and I'm the event planner for the New York Reactor Space. Before we start, I have a few things to go over. Please take a moment to read our code of conduct. We seek to provide a respectful environment for both our audience and presenters. We encourage engagement in the chat, but please be mindful of your commentary, remain professional, and on topic. Useful links will be shared in the chat. The session is recorded and will be available on demand 24 to 48 hours on the Microsoft Reactor YouTube channel. Which brings us to today's session. It'll run for approximately 1 hour with time for questions throughout. I will now turn it over to our speaker for introductions.
So, hello everyone. We are at different parts of the world. Here is in the afternoon in Switzerland, and Tessa, I guess you are in the morning in the US. Our session today is called Powering AI in Real Time and at Scale with Real-Time Intelligence. My name is Álvaro Videla Godoy, and I'm a principal cloud advocate. I focus on real time. I have experience working in the past with technologies like RabbitMQ. I used to be a core developer there. So more or less, I have always been in my professional life working with real-time intelligence. So Tessa, what about you?
Yeah, thank you, Alvaro. My name is Tessa Kloster. I'm a principal product manager on the Microsoft Fabric real-time intelligence team. I'm very excited to be talking with you all today. I'm very passionate about the space as well, and data and insights and analytics in general. So really excited to run through everything.
Yeah, cool. And yeah, people, as you know, in this in this hackathon, we like to always bring you in contact with the product group. And in this case, like Tessa says, she's working with the real time product group. So it's cool that we can have that direct contact with them, know their priorities, where the product is going, and of course how it can help you in the hackathon. So let's go a bit over, assuming PowerPoint wants to work today. If I can find my pointer. There. I'm still 5 years at Microsoft. I still don't know how to use PowerPoint. Okay, don't get it at me. So yeah, we are at the Microsoft Fabric and AI Learning Hackathon. So the idea is that we will do all kinds of challenges to show how you can use Fabric, how you can use AI and all the technologies related to Fabric. We know Fabric has a lot of things, notebooks, One Lake, but we are the cool kids. The other, please don't listen to us. We are the cool kids. We are the real-time kids. So that's what we are going to be talking about today. Keep in mind, the submission has a deadline, which is November 12th, and winners will be announced on December 16th. If you go to that QR code or microsoftfabric.devpost.com, you can learn more about all the rules involved in the hackathon. We have different categories, so you can win like an overall prize, but also you can win, let's say, a real-time prize or in other categories. And this is not the only live stream we are doing. Today we are October 17th doing the real-time session, but you can see there are many more that are upcoming. But keep in mind, we are the cool kids, so you are here today. So let's see a quick intro video, and I give it to you, Tessa.
Introducing real-time intelligence in Microsoft Fabric, an end-to-end solution empowering you to get instant, actionable insights on streaming data. At its heart lies a central place to discover, manage, and consume event data across your entire organization with a rich, governed experience. Get started quickly by bringing in data from Microsoft sources and across clouds with a variety of out-of-the-box connectors. Route the relevant data to the right destination in Fabric using a simple drag-and-drop experience. Explore insights on petabytes of streaming data with just a few clicks. Elevate your analysis by harnessing the intelligence of Copilot in Microsoft Fabric using simple, natural language. Make efficient business decisions in the moment with real-time, actionable insights and respond to changing landscapes proactively. Allow users to monitor the data they care about, detect changing patterns, and set alerts or actions that drive business value. All your data, all your teams, all in one place. This is Microsoft Fabric.
Awesome. So yeah, so that was a quick intro actually into real-time intelligence. And like to show that video because it kind of shows a quick end-to-end. It's only a minute long, but you saw so many different pieces, you know, from ingestion, from the real-time hub, all the way down through, you know, building dashboards, setting alerts, all these pieces. So we'll talk about a lot of that more today, but wanted to use that kind of that end-to-end intro across real-time intelligence. But as you saw, of course, real-time intelligence is part of Microsoft Fabric. And I know you've had a few other, this audience has had other sessions across Microsoft Fabric, but just wanted to use this slide to kind of reemphasize that, you know, Fabric really is that unified data platform for AI transformation. And so you see AI kind of interwoven and a priority across all of these different pillars, whether it's the AI-powered development, the AI-powered data estate, or AI-powered insights. So it's just kind of core across the whole capabilities. And so if you click the next slide, as we talked about, as Alvaro said, our focus today is on real-time intelligence, but you'll also see throughout the presentation how it works with the rest of Fabric. So especially if you're looking at building one of those kind of end-to-end solutions for the hackathon, you know, for the all-up solution possibly, you know, real-time intelligence can fit very nicely with the rest of the platform. You can also build a real-time solution itself. So lots of opportunities, but you'll hear us kind of going on and on specifically about this box, this workload, real-time intelligence, which was, I'll say, reintroduced in spring 2024. And I just add the reintroduced because there were key components of real-time intelligence actually available already. But then we also took a big step forward and combined and expanded the capabilities back in May 2024. So if you go to the next slide, this gives a little bit of a hint of what that looked like. So real-time intelligence in Microsoft Fabric is actually built on the core, you know, enterprise real-time data platforms that exist in Azure today, whether it's Azure Event Hubs, Event Grid, Stream Analytics, Data Explorer. So these are, you know, proven real-time platforms that can handle huge amounts of scale. In fact, I have another slide that I'll talk about in a second. And so we took all that power and the scalability and the reliability, and we brought it together with, you know, the self-service reporting and activation experiences. And this is where you'll see integration and we have tight coupling, of course, with OneLake as the promise of Microsoft Fabric. Data activator to really bring that low-code, no-code experiences to be able to trigger actions and based on conditions in your data. And of course, with Power BI having very easy integration and the visualization experiences as well. So we brought those two, you know, the scale of the enterprise real-time data platforms, the self-service experiences, and put them together to release real-time intelligence in Microsoft Fabric, which is this low-code, real-time SaaS data platform that really helps you build end-to-end solutions using real-time data. And not just for real-time data, by the way, it's also for any data that is, you know, time series, time sensitive, time-based. You'll hear a bit more in some of the capabilities, but because of the scale and what this type of platform can handle, there's many different solutions you can build on top of it. So going ahead.
Yeah, and if you let me, so I come from a let's say a different background, and when I mentioned that regarding like technology, I remember back in the days at RabbitMQ and other technologies, every was command line, setting up consumers, setting up who gets stuff in which queue, how you route, and so on. And I say this because for me, truly, it's been very impressive what I've seen over and over from the real-time product team as they deliver features into Fabric, specifically that no-code, low-code experience. For me, that's how messaging and all these technologies should be. You shouldn't need to be knowing about all the the underlying technologies that they are great on Azure when you need to address a specific need, but when you want to see your data in motion and get reports and insight right away, I think you really need to drag and drop and be done with it, right? And Tessa will show you more about that, but I just wanted to comment that for me, this has been like the most impressive, impactful thing about real-time intelligence.
Yeah, thank you. And we saw a little bit even in that video, right, about how easy it was, about how, you know, you have things like the real-time hub, which we'll talk a bit more about it. And we also did want to emphasize, as you said, Alvaro, you know, it is built on those, you know, messaging, those core technologies, because we need to ensure it can scale, right? This type of data comes fast and furious. You don't want to be missing anything. You want to kind of aggregate and ensure that you have it, keep track of it over time, and not necessarily, you know, be stuck with just the last couple minutes, right? And so really quickly that data gets very big. And so this is some of the examples, you know, this, we have planet scale infrastructure, for example, that can handle 8.3 exabytes events and logs per month, you know, 300 petabytes ingested daily. So you see these numbers, these are huge numbers. So even as you said, Alvaro, our focus is really making it approachable and available to those users that need it. So not necessarily those, you know, highly technical users, but the platform still needs to scale. It still needs to be able to handle, you know, what businesses need to run on. And so this just helps kind of articulate that we have both sides. You know, we focused on the ease of use, but we can still, you know, scale to what enterprises and businesses need as well.
Yeah, and I want to say for the geeks in the audience that when you think about databases, keep in mind that all the algorithms, storage, all those improvements are for data that stays for days, months, years in the database, which for sure we have in Fabric. But in the case of real time, you are optimizing those algorithms for a message maybe stays less than a millisecond on the database and is already out to a consumer or somewhere, right? So little homework for the geeks out there in the audience, like think about the different algorithms that you use in the database-oriented world versus the real-time world when we are managing this number that you mentioned.
Yeah, thank you. And actually that transitions probably well to talk a bit more about what real time can do and what it encompasses. So kind of back to this central view of Fabric, because again, this is like our home base of all of the different pieces. And I'm sure you'll see this slide quite a bit as we look at, you know, everyone engaging across the hackathon as well. But when we talk about the real-time intelligence, and especially as Alvaro was saying, all of this data that's coming through from these sources, so whether it's you know, sensors, sources of sensors, it's telemetry data, it's changes into your, you know, core transactional systems, right? Change data capture feeds. Maybe it's events that your system is emitting itself. There's a wide set of data sources that kind of is uniquely providing eventing and streaming data that provides so much opportunity for building solutions, any kind of solutions, but especially AI solutions. And so if you click ahead, one of the first big pieces that we did as part of real-time intelligence is that we introduced a wide range of connectors. And so clicking ahead, you'll see all of these new kind of connector sources that can come in and integrate ultimately through something we call the real-time hub, which you saw briefly in the video at the beginning. But it really becomes kind of that front door and entry point to bringing this data into the broader Fabric ecosystem. And of course, all data ultimately lands in one lake where it can be used across all of, you know, the different engines that Fabric provides. But the integration with the connectors and the real-time hub also provides that opportunity to act on the data while it's still in motion before it actually lands. So back to Alvaro's point about it, you know, being a really quick coming message that you actually need to take an action on, right? Some sensors overheating. How do I actually respond to it and alert the right people, or quickly, you know, set up a workflow to course correct it? There's that opportunity to connect, not just bringing in the data in for the broader purpose of analytics, but also to actually act on it in real time. Yeah.
And on the topic of connectors, a big thing always in the messaging community, let's say, is that we want interoperability, right? And at Microsoft, in the last years, we've been very active on supporting open standards. So whenever you work with ingestion, you're working, you're not closing to a Microsoft, let's say, technology. Actually, we are using the standard ANQP, one of the many. We also speak Kafka protocols, things like that. So you are sure that you are not getting into vendor lock-in, let's say, because that is something very important for companies. Actually, no, we are using all kind of open protocols to support all these connectors, so all the data can get in.
Yeah, huge, massive importance, as you said, Alvaro, and also really unlocks what else can be possible, right, within our platform, and then also integrating with other platforms that you might use. So as the data comes in, exactly as you said, ultimately it can land in OneLake, and Delta Parquet is available for any access as well. We also have, so besides just the connectivity, wanted to highlight that, but there's also a wide range of capabilities that come as part of real-time intelligence itself. And so clicking ahead, this is kind of a summary of some of the different pieces that helps you build those end-to-end solutions. And actually what you'll see, kind of the bulk of the discussion today will spend on how you might use some of these things to ultimately build solutions, AI-powered solutions, solutions that you could build in this hackathon and use, hopefully to win some prizes. But the next slide, if you click ahead, we'll just kind of double click into these particular items as far as what is possible using the real-time intelligence capabilities. So I'll just kind of go left to right. The first one being event ingestion. And Alvaro and I just spent a couple minutes on the other slide just kind of echoing and talking about that connectivity experience, because really, until you have the data, you can't really do anything else, right? So there's a huge focus on the event ingestion. And this little piece in Microsoft Fabric is what we call the event stream. And that really becomes that front door to bringing in all your streaming and event data. And so all of those connectivity pieces you saw, whether it was Google PubSub, Amazon Kinesis, Confluent Cloud Kafka, we have support for public Kafka now as well. We have event hubs, event grid. I could keep going on and on about all of the different kind of sources of data that we have. And the event ingestion and event streams really becomes that place that you leverage the connection to actually get it into the system. And once it's in the system, you can also do a wide variety of things. So with our event streams, you have real-time stream processing, all the power of Azure Stream Analytics. You can process it, group, filter, choose to route the streams to multiple different destinations depending on what comes through the stream. So a lot of power and opportunity just in that first little box there as far as the event ingestion. But continuing kind of to the right. Oh no, sorry. I'll keep going through the slide and then we'll go to the solutions. But continuing through this slide, once you have the data, a major application is leveraging, real-time time series analytics right on top of that data. And here we have a huge, powerful capability called Event House, which is built on the Azure Data Explorer technologies, leverages KQL, if folks are familiar. And this is really where users, all the way from kind of what we call insights explorers, so someone who's maybe not technical, but really understands their data and wants to get those insights, all the way to, pro developers and data analysts, can really leverage the capabilities here, whether it's the no-code experiences, the pro-code experiences, the whole range, to get insights on this data that's coming in, again, fast and furious, maybe isn't structured the way that you would think of, like your transaction data traditionally. And so this opportunity on real-time analytics is really exciting for users of all different skill type as well. We also integrate, of course, real-time AI capabilities, one of them being Copilot assisted experiences. I think there was a session a couple of days ago about Copilot and Fabric. And so you probably also saw where Copilot exists in real-time intelligence today. And a big one that's super powerful is being able to translate natural language queries ultimately to the KQL queries. And so again, if that data is coming in, maybe you don't know how to write queries, or you don't have the best optimization, maybe you're not as familiar with KQL itself, natural language and Copilot will do a great job of actually, you just ask the question that you want and it'll translate it into the proper syntax.
Before
please.
you keep going,
Yeah.
on that topic, like, if you think about winning the hackathon, think about telling a story, right? Telling a story how Fabric could be with real time, hopefully, help you solve a problem and implement some real world solution. And in the case of Copilot, because you can describe your problem and of course already having some data in that Copilot can try to understand, maybe that was what got you to the solution. Maybe you didn't have the experience, let's say, with the dashboard or something like that, but Copilot got you there. So that, if you are able to narrate that, to make part of that of your history, that is also very valuable for the hackathon. So don't think you need to do the super hacky, geeky thing. We want real problems being solved with Fabric. That's basically the spirit of the hackathon.
Yeah, and use all the tools you can to get there, exactly as you're saying, Alvaro. And so the real-time AI really does make that approachable and available, right, to all different users. I'll keep going a bit more on the slide, but then we'll switch over to like what these solutions could look like, because I think that is really, we want to help this group really superpower your hackathon, and then ultimately, again, hopefully win, especially around real-time intelligence. So beyond, the analytics and the capabilities there, we have real-time dashboards that you can leverage that are curated to handle this type of high volume, frequently updating data that you can have refreshing down to the seconds. And so you can see your data as it's coming in without requiring kind of that, modeling capabilities that you might need, again, in more kind of traditional visualization tools. So lots of power there. And even more power between the analytics, the querying, the dashboards, with what we have with real-time triggers. And these triggers, what they're able to do is you can configure them on a query, you can configure them directly on a stream, you could configure them on a dashboard as well. And what they're set to do is to monitor a specific condition or a change in your data, right? When a certain value goes above a threshold, or maybe when it goes above a threshold and stays there for 10 minutes, or maybe when it does, does it for the first time in the last 3 days. So there's all these different configurations and conditions that you can monitor for. And when those conditions are detected, it can trigger a number of different actions, whether it's alerts, send me an email, alert me through Team. It can set up workflows across different systems, right? So, file a support ticket, or go file a ticket with our ops team to go fix whatever triggered this alert. And it could also get into that event-driven actions, whereas something comes in, you actually want to trigger something else possibly within Fabric. And so you'll see a few scenarios actually where these last two, the triggers and the event-driven actions, really come into play as you're building solutions, hopefully for the hackathon as well. So the next couple slides, anything else on this one, Alvaro, before we jump into the solutions?
No, yeah, let's get ahead.
Get into it.
One small comment about event-driven actions. What you should say, keep in mind, it's always being able to react on time with your data, having volumes and massive amount of data. If there are no insights that your company can extract out of that, it's like that bookshelf you see there. And if I'm not
Super
learning
powerful,
something from there, it's pretty cool. But we want to react on this time data.
And so this one is going to start taking those pieces of the puzzle Alvaro and I were kind of talking about, and showing how you can kind of put them together for different applications. I'll say usually, when we talk about real-time intelligence, I would talk more about, different customer scenarios and the solutions and that they can accomplish. And we actually have a wide range of those if you want to look up real-time intelligence and our blog posts and our customer stories. But because of the hackathon, I really wanted to focus on giving a couple examples of how you might be able to use real-time to ultimately power and build out your solutions, especially your AI solutions, in the unique ways that RTI pieces can kind of come together. So these are just 4 examples. Again, there's a wide range if you want to see how folks are using real-time intelligence today, whether it's helping improve the race car diagnostics. You'll see that from Porsche Standard Motorsports. We have some around customer service support. We have a great story with 1NZ and their customer service, reducing time to responses. So a wide range of applications. But I'll run through a couple like specific examples of what your solution could look like. And then ultimately, as Elvira said, it's up to you to tell that story and how you want to apply it for your kind of hackathon submission. So the first one is about powering real-time AI. So if you click ahead, in this case, we start once again with all of the data coming in. So if you click in, we have a wide range of sources that are ultimately going to go into an event stream. So no need to click the link. If you just keep building up the slide, it should keep going.
Okay, let me pause this.
And that's what we'll actually show a video just after this. But how about keep clicking every couple seconds, Elvira, and I'll catch up with you. So all the data is coming into the event stream. From the event stream, it lands into something like OneLake, of course, across Microsoft Fabric. And from there, you really have the opportunity to build a number of solutions, right? Whether you want to build out and leverage the data science and notebook capabilities. Do you want to build a Copilot? Do you want to ultimately build a custom AI solution as well? So if you keep clicking ahead, once the data is in OneLake, really the world is kind of opens up, and here's a set of examples that you can leverage. And of course, all those solutions ultimately also produce data, right? And that data might go back to OneLake, or ultimately it might go back to the sources and back through event stream. So if you keep clicking ahead, now that you have this kind of solution that's leveraging data from OneLake and is also kind of feeding data back, you're going to want to, orchestrate your solution. And typically, if you click, this is done on a schedule. But real-time intelligence even helps you make this easier. So instead of using a schedule, if you click, you can see that you can leverage actually Reflex, as we mentioned, those event-driven actions. And it can listen for certain conditions, including conditions like new data being available, and can actually trigger executing your notebook or your data pipeline. And that kind of event-driven architecture instead of a more schedule-driven architecture ultimately helps ensure that your solution is up to date as regular as possible without wasting resources as well. And so for this solution, really quickly, you can see where real-time intelligence first of all, helps you bring in a wide range of sources that are critical to ensure you're building the right solution. And then Reflex also helps ensure that you are your solution is up to date as much as possible. And the last click on the slide is that as all this information is emitted and now you have this custom solution, ultimately you're going to get great insights that are going to feed back into your ecosystem, your source of data, and then you're going to have kind of this virtuous cycle that kind of keeps improving. But to see this better in action, the next slide is going to run us through a quick video of what something like this might look like.
If you want to bring custom Gen AI experiences to your apps so that users can interact with them using natural language, the better the quality and recency of the data used to ground responses, the more relevant and accurate the generated outcome. The challenge, of course, is that your data may be sitting across multiple clouds in your own data center and also on the edge. Here's where the complete analytics platform, Microsoft Fabric, helps you to unify data wherever it lives at unlimited scale without you having to move it. It incorporates a logical multi-cloud data lake, OneLake, for unified data storage and access, and separately provides a real-time hub optimized for event-based streaming data, where change data capture feeds can be streamed from multiple cloud sources for analysis in real time without the need to poll your data. Then, with your data unified, data professionals can work together in a collaborative workspace to ingest and transform it, analyze it, and also endorse it as they build quality data sets. And when used with Microsoft Purview, this can be achieved with an additional layer of security, where you can classify and protect your schematized data with protections flowing as everyone from your engineers, data analysts, your business users works with data in the Fabric workspace. Keeping grounding data for your LLMs up to date is also made easier by being able to act on it with real-time intelligence. For example, you might have a product recommendation engine on an e-commerce site, and using real-time intelligence, you can create granular conditions to listen for changes in your data, like new stock coming in, and update data pipelines feeding the grounding data for your large language models. So now, whereas before the Gen AI may not have had the latest inventory data available to it to ground responses, with real-time intelligence, generated responses can benefit from the most real-time, up-to-date information so you don't lose out on sales. And as you work with your data, Gen AI experiences are infused throughout Fabric. In fact, Copilot in Fabric experiences are available for all Microsoft Fabric workloads to assist you as you work. And once your data set is complete, connecting it from Microsoft Fabric to ground large language models in your Gen AI apps is made easy with Azure AI Studio, where you can bring in data from one lake seamlessly and choose from some of the most sophisticated large language models hosted in Azure to build custom AI experiences on your data. All of which is only made possible when you unify your data and act on it with Microsoft Fabric.
So that was a great summary and kind of end-to-end video as well from the Microsoft Mechanics channel. I think we had a link on the previous slide if you haven't already seen it. And of course, that showed about building solutions across Fabric. So again, for the hackathon audience, you probably have seen that type of video. But you also saw how key real-time intelligence can play a picture, especially when it's bringing in the data, ensuring that it's up to date. And then as you also saw with Reflex and Data Activator, ensuring that it triggers and helping ensure your solutions have the latest and greatest information.
Yeah, and replying to a question from the chat from Matthew Petrich is if the real-time dashboards in Fabric are built with Power BI, can we see a dashboard with a 1-second refresh of real-time data? So real-time dashboards, they are a technology within Cousteau, within the event house. So you have your database, and there you can create like a query set. You prepare your queries, and you can, from there, from your database, create a dashboard. That dashboard can have multiple pieces depending on queries that you run in like real-time queries. And then you can configure your dashboard to be, I don't remember the exact name, but like real-time, let's say. So as soon as the query updates a piece of the dashboard, it will rerun again, and in that sense, give you like a real-time feed. For instance, Tessa mentioned motorsports. Imagine you have a car going on a track in a race. The car is going at 300 kilometers per hour. That car, 1 second for that car is 70 meters or more for the driver. That driver, that team, they need real-time insight. So in that case, they can feed in data with all these connectors that Tessa mentioned. Then you can build the real-time queries and build those dashboards that can be showing you telemetry, temperature, different things that are happening in that car, but you want to see right away. Power BI will be, let's say, for seeing other types of insight from that race, but that real-time thing refresh, you will get it from Event House, basically.
Yeah, from the real-time dashboard. Yeah, exactly. And then I think the other big piece is that, as Alvaro said, like the speed of update, the way that the queries are executing, and then also kind of the requirements as far as the data, needing to be modeled and that type of thing. There's different benefits of using the real-time dashboards. Now we do can package them all up together with Power BI, of course, and with the organizational applications, so people can still have the data side by side, but there's unique benefits, as Alvaro mentioned, as well. And actually, I was just going back now through some of the other about the different chat pieces that we had as well. And I think some was talking about copilots, which we had also seen, and a question on demoing the real-time intelligence. So we have some of the videos. The other pieces will keep going where we can show how you can build it out. And that was where we'll spend a lot of the time today. So if you can go to the next one, we'll keep going on some of the pieces so that people can actually go and get started exactly as the chat's suggesting. So from the last one, if we assume that you've already built your solution, your AI solution, another big place that real-time intelligence can actually help is on monitoring those solutions to help improve accuracy, reliability, maybe tweaking the different models or understanding what improvements there are. So in this case, we have an AI solution, however you chose to build it. In this case, let's say it was, event stream to one lake and building a copilot on top. All of that actually emits data. And this kind of gets to your point, Elvira, about some of the power of Event House that comes out. So if you click the next slide, what happens is this data ultimately can be emitted and stored in an Event House. And as we've been talking about it, Event House is this kind of time series database curated for this high volume, high granularity data that doesn't necessarily need to be structured or modeled in a good way. You can use the power of query set on top of it. So clicking ahead, to really do things like, and the text is kind of tiny here, but you could do things like time series analytics. You could do really deep forensic analytics. You can do anomaly detection, all of this with the power of Event House and KQL. But also you don't need to actually have writing KQL in order to get this insight. This is where the Copilot assist comes in, or if you're familiar with something like SQL, you can do that as well. You can take it further and ultimately get into that real-time dashboard, as we said, if you had that kind of more monitoring scenario. And either of these options can ultimately also trigger reflex items and can ensure that the different pieces of your organization are alerted or kicked off when something happens. So if you click ahead, whether it's the query set or the real-time dashboard, can also create those real-time triggers to kind of keep the workflow going, right? You don't have to have someone sitting there monitoring, can actually automate quite a bit of this. And once again, all of that information is emitted. The different actions that can happen can ultimately feed back into the AI solution, which I think is the last piece on this slide. So continuing with other examples, next piece. Now, this is one that, again, maybe people don't necessarily think about real-time intelligence yet as far as providing, vector database applications as well. So whether it's RAG, semantic search, if these are important components of your solution for the hackathon, real-time intelligence can help. And so there's a great blog here that I won't drain through, but the short summary is, you can leverage text, of course, from whatever source your system that is coming through. You can leverage an embedding model like OpenAI, to ultimately get the vector embeddings and then store this back into that same highly scalable, highly performant Event House system for that vector storage, and then ultimately powering things like similarity search and RAG applications as well. So just another piece that maybe isn't as obvious to folks about what's possible with real-time intelligence, but this is a big one for solutions as well.
Yeah, and like if you use solutions like LangChain or semantic kernel, they all have like a logger. You can use a custodial logger, and then every step in your LLM application can be also logged into real time, and you can set up alerts on those when there are no good matches, when maybe the user gives you a thumbs down on the answer, or all those things can be part of your solution if you put real time in it. So like think about real time as this second dimension that goes along with your application, and it makes sure your application gets to the right destination, let's say.
I love it. And then also, like you said, can help course correct. And I like that. This is a great analogy as well. And again, hopefully what you're seeing from these slides is that it's when we say real-time intelligence, it's not just one thing, right? There's so many different pieces and where you can apply it. So one of the last ones, and then we'll kind of pause for like recapping back to all of the different options. But this is another big scenario that we see quite a bit with customers, especially when they're building, real-time solutions. A lot of customers spend a lot of energy, curating all their data, ultimately building out, an ML model. and then they need to use it going forward, right? And so sometimes this can, again, be run on a schedule. Okay, let's go and kind of bulk score items against this using the model. But really what many folks want is actually that real-time scoring, right? So now that I have the model, let's say it's a fraud detection scenario or predictive maintenance, what I want to be able to do is how do I, as my data is kind of coming in, check against it. Am I hitting one of these conditions? Can my ML model help me predict that? And so the scenario starts very similar to the other ones. You have all of these different sources. They come in through that event stream. And then in this case, lend them directly into an event house where, again, you have the scale and performance of this time series database. Now, that same data can be available in OneLake, again, with the promise of Microsoft Fabric having all the data available in OneLake and open. This can be joined, of course, with other data, with the shortcuts, mirroring you heard in the video as well. And so all of that data together can ultimately be used to train an ML model, right? You might use a notebook if you click ahead to support that. And then ultimately you have this model that's kind of ready to be used. And now what you can do is as data is coming in, again, real time from event stream through Event House, you can directly leverage that ML model that's already been trained and curated to ultimately score items in real time. And so once again, if you click ahead, it's just the last arrow connecting everything. There's a great blog post that kind of runs through all of these different pieces as well. And so hooking these pieces up and allowing for your solution to not just take advantage of, the Fabric capabilities, you have a curated model, all that's great, but now you can actually integrate it real time as that data is kind of flowing in fast and furious. And so an example of this one, like maybe this is a big, much broader application of like a full scenario, but if you click ahead, we have an example around predictive maintenance. And this is where you actually have pieces coming in from ingestion, maybe from different sources. They're loading in, our traditional kind of transform process. You have the data in the right place. But you see that kind of special box around training that model is what we just talked about that ultimately goes back into the system and can be used in real time. And so I won't have everyone read this through, but again, to kind of go back and reference this if you'd like. As far as, again, think about something where you're using, a predictive algorithm. Could also be certain like scenario detection, like fraud detection. We had a great demo at Build about detecting bots in a sales engagement as well. So lots of power to not just do this, of course, with broader Fabric, but the power of RTI and making it come in real time into the solution really unlocks a lot of scenarios. And just the last piece on the slide, of course, you want to back in Power BI for your business intelligence, maybe a real-time dashboard to monitor, all of those things that Avero said too about being able to automate and detect. It's possible with the full system. Just that real-time scoring really unlocks a lot of options as well.
Yeah, and I want to call out here from this slide that we already talked about Delta Parquet. We have talked about standards like AMQP. In this one, you have MQTT, which is like I was literally at a messaging conference in Berlin this week, and I don't know how many brokers I saw using MQTT. So again, Microsoft is open to whatever format or whatever your data is in, which for me, that's where message should have been, and it should be that and it's a goal of real-time intelligence is to integrate and to say, let's say, everybody's welcome. What we want is that you do more with your data, that you get those insights, that whether this is a Power BI report, an alert, whatever, but you don't want to handle, I don't know how many messaging systems are out there. I mean, I don't want to handle it. I don't want my developers to handle that. And for me, this solution really confirms that this is the reality today. So next, I guess.
Yeah, well, and like you said, the reality and also how we can help make it a little bit easier. So Again, in kind of the spirit of the hackathon and the work that you guys are trying to do, wanted to share some scenarios that we see, real life scenarios. In fact, I can almost map a customer to each one of these different areas, but to kind of seed some ideas of how real-time intelligence and a solution that you might build for the hackathon could be used to solve a business problem. And as Alvaro said, ultimately, when you're telling that story, that's the part of it, right? What solution? Why are we even trying to do this? Why does users need it? And one of them might be that data problem that you mentioned, Alvaro, right? That there's just so much of this type of data, and it is very hard to leverage today. You see a number. So as the last slide was talking a bit about the predictive maintenance, you see fraud detection here. Inventory tracking, maybe customer recommendations. There's such a wide range. And again, these are just kind of 6 different verticals that we talked about, but every single area that we've, encountered has an opportunity, I think, for some kind of real-time benefit, real-time solution, right? Real-time need, as you said, Alvaro.
Yeah, and we have a question if we are showing an example, like a specific example or a how-to. We have a lot of materials on Microsoft Learn, full courses on how you go step-by-step building these solutions. What we wanted to show you in this particular presentation is how real-time is part of our everyday lives. And let me tell you just about literally my local supermarket, right? Whenever I'm doing a checkout, and let's say I buy certain piece of bread. There are a lot of type of bread here in Switzerland, right? And when they don't have it anymore on stock, why should I see it on the self checkout, right? Why, if that product is not there on stock anymore, why are you showing it to me on the screen? But I've seen over the years, I've been living here in Switzerland for quite a while, that now they scan every single product that lands on their shelves is scanned, right? And when you check out, that is also a scan. And then they have this real-time process of updating the inventory that makes it very simple for me to do a self-checkout. And you say, okay, what does that matter? Because a happier customer is a returning customer. And you can see that it's something as simple as keeping track of your inventory to update, let's say, the self-checkout experience, or things that you show in the store, or even bringing new stock into the store. Those are everyday problems. We don't need, let's say, a wind turbine to do a solution with real time, or we don't need to be racing in a 24-hour race to get the use case and the solution that can be impactful right away using real time.
Yeah, exactly. They really are everywhere. And like you said, there's some kind of business focused ones. I mean, even actually, since we're on YouTube, I'll give a plug. We did a live stream a few months ago now. I don't know if Devang's there in the comments, but we actually showed how you can monitor your YouTube, like how folks are joining real time in YouTube, right? And how the different tracks of viewers are going, how you might want to adapt, who's having problems, the sentiment is, how it compares over time. So exactly as you said, Alvaro, like this slide maybe is more focused on some kind of bigger business scenarios, but really just think about your everyday life, right? And where, hey, if I had that information a little bit faster, a little bit more accurate, a little bit more timely, how it would have made, your experience better, right? Both from just a user, a person, but also within your business, right? How would it make your customers better as well? So yeah, lots of opportunity, lots of fun things that are possible, I think, as part of this solution as well. So Danny, if you can switch back over to my slide. So this, just to recap again, we went through 4 examples, as Alvaro said. If you go to aka.ms/real-time docs, that's where you will see, as you said, a wide variety of how-tos. There's a tutorial you can get started immediately if you haven't already. And that tutorial should take you, 10, 20 minutes to go through max and show you all of the different kind of end-to-end pieces. And then come back to this video and then take the ideas of the applications and piece them together for your solution in your hackathon. But if you do want to try it, kind of get your hands on right away, that's kind of my first recommendation. But just to recap a bunch of the pieces that we went through, we showed how real-time intelligence helps powering your real-time AI solutions. You can monitor those solutions, as Alvaro said, using the logger. The telemetry that's emitted from all this information is so powerful, but also kind of unwieldy. Let real-time intelligence and Event House help you monitor and understand and take action on it. If you have a use or need for vector embeddings in your solution, you can leverage Event House again as a vector database and build applications from there. And of course, the real-time ML scoring. I think this one is a very kind of common need. And again, not something everyone is very familiar with, that real-time intelligence can help. And so again, just to kind of recap as far as all of the different capabilities, and then maybe I'll kind of try to catch back up on the chat, because I know that there's been a number of different questions that we can see also if there's anything real time. But hopefully today you've known more about real time. I see what Melody said. So much can be done with Fabric, exactly what we were hoping to help articulate today. And especially with real-time intelligence, really unlocking access to all of those kind of streaming event data sources that are so key for many of these, AI solutions that are needed to be built today. And then again, with the capabilities itself, whether it's from the event ingestion, whether it's the real-time analytics, really understanding this type of data, using the AI to help you build the solution. As Alvaro said, you don't have to kind of soldier through or do, hours and hours of learning and training to try to unblock something. Like, how do you write kind of a great query to understand this data? We have the AI integrated directly into it. Dashboards for monitoring, triggering alerts, having event-driven applications, this wide range of capabilities, all within real-time intelligence and ultimately within Microsoft Fabric. Hopefully we'll unlock a number of different sources and ideas and solutions that you're building for this hackathon. And again, our documentation, the blogs, ak.ms/realtime blog, customer stories, all of that can be used to help seed some ideas. But I kind of like your supermarket one, Alvaro. Maybe that'll be a submission somewhere where they'll fix your bread problem at the supermarket. But that was just a quick recap. Alvaro, anything else you want to make sure we touch on or add?
I guess just remind people about the upcoming schedule, because again, we are the cool kids in Fabric, but there are more things coming. So we have next week, Unlocking AI at Scale with Data Factory in Microsoft Fabric. Then we have how to build application with Azure SQL DB. Then also we have how to get AI-powered business insight with Azure Cosmos DB. And also innovations on Postgres or Azure Database or PostgreSQL. So yeah, we have a lot of things coming along this month. Don't forget there is a deadline, so you want to submit your project before that. And yeah, keep in mind, as Melody said, there is a lot of things that can be done with Fabric. So I'm pretty sure your solution will get there with Fabric. And one recommendation, keep in mind to tell a story. Keep in mind that people want to reproduce your solution. We want to be on the other side, on the person learning about Fabric and see, oh, wow, this cool thing could be implemented, and think how the judges will go through all that experience, how you document your GitHub repo, how you link perhaps to a YouTube where you explain how your solution works, or any other innovative way that you can do that will get you to that price. And yeah, thanks.
Yeah, thank you. And just last slide, if you just to recap again, because like you said, stay tuned for more. But again, if you want to go to understand more about real-time intelligence itself, there's lots of great content online. Maybe I see a quick question, and Alvaro, I don't know if you saw more, but one right at the end about recommending event-driven architecture or schedule-driven architecture, or can you have a combination of both? And the answer is you can definitely have a combination of both.
Yep.
Depending on, the data source, the processing you're running, maybe a schedule makes more sense. What we wanted to emphasize is that real-time intelligence helps you also shift into an event-driven architecture for scenarios where there's events and conditions that you're monitoring for that will be more kind of precise, more optimized instead of waiting for a schedule, right? So you don't have to kind of go full scale one or the other. But a lot of the times we use schedule because we don't have the ability to listen and react to an event. So with all the kind of new capabilities on real time, there is a lot more opportunity. When something comes into my blob storage, trigger my notebook to execute. That just saved me time and money and a run, right, of my notebook, because I know the actual data is there and ready. So lots of benefits of using event driven.
And I always think about that. Like, think about all the popular like image sharing websites or applications on phones. Maybe you want to batch convert all the because there are different font sizes, different screens. So every time a new user uploads an image, maybe you want to trigger that thing, that workflow that delivers the image to all their followers, that start that conversion. But tomorrow there is a new, let's say, iPhone being released with a new screen size, and then you will need to batch convert a lot of images to be ready for that. So the architectures always are a bit of everything. But sometimes I think there is a tendency to not see how real time will have help you right away with that, and right away to get the customer satisfied with that. Because of course the supermarket at night can do all the updates, the batch update of all the inventory. But for the person right now on the supermarket, I want to have milk where milk is, and bread where bread is, and maybe somebody on the deposit can get that. Hey, look, you're running out of milk, go refill that. That is real time. But what we need to order at night, so at night the provider make sure the supermarket is well provided or resourced. That happens at a different time need, let's say. So both technologies is what we advocate.
And I'll even take it because I think a lot of the time, people think like, okay, so maybe once a night was too slow for supermarket. Maybe they need to do it, every 4 hours. Maybe they do it every 2 hours, kind of faster batching, if you will, right? But at the end of it, there's still that delay. Why wait for that next hour to roll around? Why not, like you said, look for that specific condition, that specific event. You're running low or you're out, right? Or you have a series of them as well. So that mind shift of, instead of kind of doing the same thing, but trying to get it like faster, instead shifting into that concept of actually streaming and event driven and real time, saves a lot of time and energy and frustration from folks in the solution as well.
But yeah, thank you, Tessa. Thank you, everybody that is part of the stream. Or of course, you can watch it later on demand. And yeah, this is all from us. Any comments, Tessa? Any final?
No, this is it. And I was just looking through the chat. I think we hit most of the things. Again, real-time intelligence, as Alvaro said, we're very excited about it. It can do so much. Hopefully you do leverage it as part of your hackathon solution. Go check out the documentation. And also, hopefully everyone's using, our community forum. So if you hit any questions, comments besides this live stream, do engage with us. And we have the product team there. We're all there to kind of help answer your questions too. So looking forward to see what everyone builds.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you, and see you next week on the next stream. Thanks.
Thanks, team.